did you have to learn the hard way? And then you can explain the lesson and the situation. I'm sure good/bad memories are coming up right now, so I'll give them a moment to think about their story. And then whoever is ready can start.
Ladies first.
Okay. Buti girls, ladies, not age. Because I think the oldest here. No. I have a lot, but if I could pick one, I think the hardest because it was the closest to me. I have many passions. But one would be I went into business with my best friend. Okay, I know there was a suggestion that maybe your co-founder team could be right beside you. I still believe that you could do business with friends. But I think when we were doing that, it was muddled, like, it wasn't defined. That when we had meetings, it was /meeting/chikahan session. Okay? And then we would justify, I mean, I was much younger back then. But then despite that,
Is it showbiz?
thanks. Back then, I was thinking that we were doing something right. We had the fundamentals of making a business. We had the right capital. We were managing our finances. I mean, all the things we thought that the thing that the business needs to have is there. But it's the relationship that suffered, okay? Because you didn't define the boundaries. So I think regardless if you're gonna go into business with a friend, with your spouse, okay? Because I've seen I can't say that you can't, because I've seen it work and I've seen it not work. So I guess it's really dependent on personalities and again, the boundaries. I know of a couple that they're doing very, very well. It's not so much doing well in terms of numbers, they are, but in terms of the vibe, you can see the energy of the people, the couple that nagsasaluhan. If one is weak, the other shows up. If walang sapawan. For me, I lost my best friend of 13 years because of it. But then, so guess my age. So the thing is, that's a painful part. Of course, now we're civil, but for us to get there, the buying out, it's not just the whole, because we went into business together, and then the whole capital, sige na, ako na bahala nito, ganon. Kakain kami, and then we would say, we're gonna go out, and we're gonna celebrate, we're gonna call it board meeting. Alam mo yun, you're trying to be fancy, you're doing a board meeting, we're gonna do a Christmas party, but it's not really based on the finances of the company. So nag-i-intertwine doon. So I would say, regardless of any relationship, spouse, best friend, family members, including, because I know one cousin, ganyan, grabbing away, it went as far as a lawsuit, okay? So that's the hard part. So I guess number one, I would say boundaries. Know your position, know what you bring into the table. I always tell people, don't invite somebody in your business if the only thing that the reason why they're gonna come in is because they're your friend or they have the money. Money is the least thing that you need to create a business. You need somebody who will also work as hard as you, physically, will be there for you emotionally. Kasi the starting is easy. It's the follow through, it's getting there when it's tough. That's the hardest.
Thanks for being vulnerable, miss.
I'll be next. She's actually right. It's really hard to for a spouse to be in a business. I had to learn that the hard way. But I have another story. So one of the lessons that I learned is that before you do your business, especially startup, you should know yourself. I think that's one of the most important. Good thing that when we started, we're able to get into idea space, and they have a psychiatrist to help us. And this was talked earlier about mental health. And I really have to figure out myself because I didn't know that I have tendencies in making decisions and I stick to it even if it's wrong. And it was rooted on something that I have experienced when I was a child. So I had to really uncover that because it's really affecting the business. So that's, I think, before you start, know yourself because you will need them.
Do you have any tips on knowing yourself, like the process?
Well, it's not really a practice here, but you should either talk to a therapist. I think that it's really not just for mental health, but just really to perform well. Because some of them are performance coach.
If I could add, to add to that, especially for males, because for us girls, we have a lot of outlets. We have our gay friends, we have our other friends, you know. But guys, I realized because I was talking to another friend of mine in Manila, he blatantly, I mean really honestly says, I have a therapist. Okay, because it takes a lot for a guy to admit that they need help. And most of us are trained by there's no one to blame, but it's just really culture that guys are supposed to only have two emotions, happy and hungry. You know? And another issue.
Yeah. Can I have a calling card of your shirt?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. For me, I think because being very new in the business and is actually asking for payment. That was not like first, like we're giving out a lot of stuff for free, not really asking for what your credit card number is. So and then that was I think when we transitioned na parang kailangan pala natin bayaran yung sa mga suppliers natin, sarili natin. And then and we haven't thought about that far because I was in a freelancer mentality. Now we're not really like a startup founder. Like, we just joined the startup hype kasi may mga libre. So but
It's unbeer.
all these events, but again, I would go back to my first message is to ask for help and with the programs that are available at our disposal right now, especially for new startups. Ang dami, like people who started like 5 years ago, konti lang yung like the benefits that they have, but right now, I think the barrier to entry is so low that a lot of us are and startups are cool. So a lot of people are going into it and not really thinking about also the long term and how it will affect you mentally, and because entrepreneurship is such a lonely road. Na if you're naive, you could probably pull it off. Like right now, I'm just naive. Na yeah, I could probably do this. But yeah, but we're still on our year one, and I think we have still a lot of things that we would be able to learn. And yun lang, that's actually the mantra I'm going with every time that nahirapan ako, then you just ask for help.
So there are a lot of things, of course, but so if I can say one of the things, startup life is really learning itself. Yeah. Then one more thing, never give up is very important. Yeah, mind of never give up. Actually, pain will be existed if you will be in a startup. I think maybe it is 10 times than you can imagine.
That's scary.
Yeah. Technological problem and money problem can be asked someone in somewhere. If you have been never give up, but mindset to keep the challenger mindset is most important. So actually, because there are some of my colleagues, then our colleagues know. Sometimes I was almost a zombie. I was very crazy, almost died. Yeah, then I lost my fiance. So there are a lot of pain.
Wow, alright guys, let's give space, yes.
Single ladies out there, shout out.
Hugot na, oh my gosh, I didn't expect this to be.
Yeah, but so some time ago you saw my story. Because it's remind of never give up. Yeah. So that is, I think, maybe important thing is that.
Thank you so much. Guys, let's give a round of applause to our founders for sharing their vulnerable stories. So it's very refreshing actually to hear all these stories from you guys, because oftentimes what we hear from entrepreneurs is all the glitz and glamour of the life, but there are many ups and downs, and it's a good topic that Yutaka-san touched on. So I guess a follow-up question to that, to everyone still, is so because startup life is so hard, and it's a common statement that JDL is very transparent about, and all those speakers are very transparent about. What did you when you first started out? Were you always this determined? Like from a child, were you always having this passion, this grit, or did you learn it? Was there an experience in your life that kind of like switched it, and then you became entrepreneurial, or you became this determined, or was it innate? Was it from when you were a child, you were always like, go, 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 I will never give up, I will believe in myself, I will, do these things? I know it's a bit deep, so because that's the topic. Like, mentality is such a hard thing to break down. So these are just, my two questions, and then I'll open the forum to the whole room. But yes, the question is, did you always know you had this fire?
Yeah, for me, I've always been I think an entrepreneur even till I was young. And after 3 failed ventures, my parents told me magtrabaho ka na lang. And then when that time na I really wanted to work na, and then I given up on the entrepreneurial journey because I think it's not for me. Like I'm already that time I was already 28, 29. Tapos I have already 3 failed businesses. I said, tatrabaho na ako. I already have I'm going to get married na, and I still don't have a stable income because gusto ko nga maging entrepreneur. But my parents told me, who are both employees, well, a stable job is not bad. So I tried applying, and I got a sales management position, and it pays good. And then I think the best thing that ever happened to me in that job was I was fired. So and when I was fired, then parang okay, sige, balik tayo sa
no choice.
No choice. And then eventually the 4th time around was when something took off. But again, as I've said, we're in year 1, but we'll never know yet. But I think parang I'm already on the right path, because I'm sure that all of the companies I've been with, I'm sorry, I'm just not good enough to be an employed person.
Too opinionated. Thanks.
Yeah. So me, I always knew. But the thing is, if I started something, I really push hard. Really push, and then there's a limit to me, and then I'll break down. So this time around, what helped me is my team. So I'm the most optimistic at the onset. So they tempered me down, they challenged me, they questioned me, and it's really important for that, because you need a co-founder. Because this is one of the mistakes of startup founders. They hire or they get a co-founders that's below them. No, so you should hire a peer. So someone that you trust, someone that you depend on, that can challenge you. Because there will be times like me that I could have pushed the company to the brink without them.
Thank you. Yeah. Sometimes, oftentimes in entrepreneurship programs that I run, the message is always the team is more important than the idea. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of groundbreaking idea that you have, but if you don't have the right people around you to support you, you won't be able to push it, and we will push it to the brink, to the edge, if you don't have a good team. So, yeah, thanks for sharing that, mention.
Okay. Okay. I was trying to think of my question, not to be too religious, but it can't be helped. I am. So, I am a firm believer that everything, when you were created, you're already complete, okay? But the thing is, not everything already manifests. Things in you manifest as it is needed or as you learn it. So things happen to you. I'm already telling you how my belief, mentality, it's your belief system, right? So when things happen to you, the way I see it, and it took me a long time to understand it this way, when things happen to you, you can view it as a block, or you can look at it as a way for you to learn. When things happen to you, I also believe in timing. So sometimes, why did this thing happen now and not before? Because this is the time for you to learn it. And when these things happen, the question should be not like, why me? Why now? But more of what needs to come out from me so that I can overcome it. So with that in mind also, I can say partly I knew, but I didn't know how far until I reached to that point. So this is really literally a journey. I can't say, well, my startup is 12 years. My dad's startup is 31 years. Who knows, right? You have to live in the present, ground yourself, because if you keep looking at the future, if it's really meant for you, it's gonna come. So, might as well just be in the present, focus on what you can do now, live your best day now. And, for Filipino Chinese, everyone's talking about the death of John Choa-Uy. His wife that immediately followed, Bong Tan. These are two different families, and my dad worked for Lucio Tan before he left, okay? John Choa-Uy, my dad was a Choa-Uy scholar, so it's very close to him, both families. How different these two are, okay? So what am I trying to say? One is that you put all your eggs, this is common knowledge. Lucio put all his eggs in Bong Tan. The thing is, he died even before his dad, right? So what now? Everyone's already talking, who's gonna take over, etc. There's no succession plan. Meanwhile, somebody is willing to let go of his ego, and let his children run. So he can, he died peacefully. So that's what I would like to say. That's how I tell my children. It sounds morbid. I have a 10-year-old, I have an 8-year-old, but I tell them, your life today, you have to live your best life today. Not for tomorrow, not for when I have this, when again. You have to know, I can sleep, I did the best that I could today. Tomorrow is another day. I fight for another day.
Give that a round. Life lessons, guys. Mentorship, that's what it's all about. Yutaka-san, do you have?
Yeah, actually keeping that fire inside the heart is very, very difficult. Sometimes it will be distinguished almost. Yeah. So actually, because I am a human.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, so it's honestly speaking. I'm now honestly speaking, so keeping the motivation is very, very difficult. So actually, sometimes I lost the fire inside my heart. But at that time, my colleague and my friend and my stakeholder keep me.
Like kick you?
Me, yeah.
Keep her.
Yeah, so really, that by the verbal explanation, yeah. Sometimes, so I remember that's the word. That is word from my CFO. He said me, startup CEO have to stand up after one day, even if parent will die. Yeah, so it's a very strong word. Yeah, but yeah, it's not tender word at that time. Yeah, because at that time I was almost zombie. So that is why it was one tender word that was considered by him. So I felt his heart and keeping our business. So actually I was helped a lot of times from my colleagues and stakeholders, and of course our customers also. When I saw the smile face of the patients, so my fire inside the heart or recovered.
I especially like the video that you showed of InstaLimb, where you really featured over and over again the beneficiaries of the prosthesis. So it was very heartwarming, and yeah, I understand what you mean when you say your customers, the stakeholders, your colleagues rekindle the fire in you when you're down. So guys, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much, founders, for being honest. Oh, I think we still have time for Q&A, or no more? We still have time? 5 more minutes? Okay, so we have 5 minutes, and maybe we can take, if any questions arise, we can take it, maybe 1 or 2. Does anybody in the audience want to ask something, maybe in terms of their specific topics that they talked about earlier, like e-commerce, or even in 3D prototyping, or even just their VR, VR and their founder journey? If anybody would like to ask a question, you have the remaining, I don't know, 4 minutes to speak up, so that we have a minute for them to answer. No more questions? Okay, 5. Oh, yes. Introduce yourself. Like, say hi.
A t-shirt for someone who wants. Sure.
Good afternoon. My name is Bernard Desbiliran. I'm still a student at STI, grade 12, and web development section. Actually, I have a question for OJ. You said you worked on a real estate website, right?
Yeah.
Actually, my mom gave me a project for the work immersion program to develop a real estate website on my own, and I have a few questions, but I'm going to generalize it. What tips can you give when developing the website? What is there that the customers of real estate really want to see?
First of all, just to give value to everybody, the purpose of having a real estate website is to sell. Okay? If you sell that property on that website or some other platform, that's it. That's the underlying reason why there's all these sales processes, is to ultimately have that person or that family go inside that house that you're trying to sell and live in it and be happy actually of purchasing that. Now, if you're gonna portray, of course, my tips would be produce content, have high quality content. If you have a graphic design background, or definitely that helps that you have a web dev background, because you can play around with the website. But I think you have to invest in high quality photos and floor plans and the things that we do. So you can just give me an email and we can help you with that. OJ Lopez at vrspaces.ph and we'll help you with that, bro. So content, yeah.
If you have a calling card, that will be better.
I'll introduce you after. Okay.
I also have further questions. One is,
Yeah, 3 minutes.
I think the other guy also has a question.
Yeah, there's another guy that has questions.
for, what's this again? Oh, for Gretchen, this is to the e-commerce side. The website I'm developing, I'm planning on having it made using HTML5 and CSS3, so that it can also cater to mobile users.
Sorry. Because there's a lot of time, I cannot answer that because I pay people to do it for me. Because I mean, because I know myself. People have told me, Gretchen, buan mo lang yan, you'll get it. I've tried, I cannot.
Okay.
So,
And
I do
just
not know
gonna-
HTML and zero.
I'm gonna say it simply. I'm gonna simplify it so that the common people can also understand. sorry. But it's the harsh reality, not everyone knows the terms. So, I'm gonna say it simply. Should I really dedicate the website for mobile, or generally develop it for both the PC users and the mobile users?
For both.
For both.
For both.
Thank you.
guy, oh, he has a question.
Yeah.
In front.
In front, sir. Last question. You have 60 seconds.
Oh, 60 seconds.
Miss Universe.
So, this question is for Sir OJ. So, hi sir, I am Nathaniel Arbasto. I'm senior high, also a senior high student, grade 12, ICT and Tagbilaran City Science High School. So my question is, do you consider venturing into like as in trend video games or virtual reality, which video games that implement virtual reality? So do you consider in venturing those kind of concepts, like you're entering into video games or such?
Actually, it's the other way around. My first devs are game devs, and then they are developing games. Then I told them, let's do VR for architecture and construction, because they were heavily into games. Tapos there's, I think unless if you have a really great game, because there's a lot of game devs out there who's developing games na I think if the game is really good, then you can probably compete. Pero ang hirap kaya compete ka, di ba? If you're gonna compete with EA and yeah, Ubisoft and things like that, you would need a venture fund to actually take off your project off the ground. So if you're going to do that, sabi ko sa mga game devs, okay, let's do this VR for industries thing first and generate money, and you can do that on the side. At least you would be able to sustain your passion of making games. Diba? Kasi at the end of the day, we need to eat and somebody has to pay for the bills. Right?
So thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much to everybody who asked questions. Let's give our panelists. Oh, there's one more? One last. All right, sir. 30 seconds.
Okay, Josh Justin T. Samina from the same school as Arbasto, Tagbilaran City Science High School. My question is this. It was mentioned that one of the best aspects, the greatest aspects to making the business is the team itself. Not only that, I know you need to make many connections in many other fields, especially in the ones you don't know. My question is, how do you even find these people?
Like this. So you really network, you attend events, and you don't have to force it. I don't know, the universe will conspire for you guys to meet.
Yeah.
I know it's something,
very,
but
yeah,
it's really is. Immediately there's a connection. You know, this is the person that I will be having a business with.
Maybe I can jump in on this. So I graduated here. So I was a graduate from Bohol Wisdom School, and then I went to college in Holy Name University. And then, I think I met you guys and your friends. So it's exactly how Neptune,
Maybe important things is the posting Facebook and YouTube about your project. Starting the project is first step. Then next step is the posting your project on Facebook or YouTube. Actually, I got first teammate from YouTube. Yeah, it's a point.
Yeah, that's, and if I may just support it, I started off as a freelance graphic designer. So I just started, as Yutaka-san said, posting my work online, and then attending events like these and talking to all the speakers, even though I had no topic to talk to them. Hi, I'm Ashley.
Okay.
But then, it was supported because, I would have a portfolio ready, and, that gained clients, and then eventually this led to that, and then things will happen. So, yeah.
One thing that's very big to me for the people just starting out is for the people like you who've already established some sort of prestige in the industry. Are you actually okay with some random nobody chatting you up out of nowhere and asking you for help?
I was a random nobody, man, and I chatted up JDL and he replied back.
Yes. So you can talk to us, after the panel. Like, all the speakers will be here all afternoon.